Warning! The following podcast contains strong language which some listeners may find offensive. If you do,
Up yours! That's only if you don't listen to the podcast. Otherwise, not up yours.
did you know the Untitled Wrestling Podcast is on all of the social media outlets? Give us a like, follow, share, subscribe, or even a review if you're feeling generous. Facebook and YouTube at Untitled Wrestling Podcast, Twitter, Twitch and Discord at Untitled Rest Pod.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Untitled Wrestling Podcast. It is Tuesday, you know what that means. It is me, your boy Big Tasty, as always, joined by Faye. How's it going, Faye?
It's going good. Yeah, it's my birthday week. It's not, it's my birthday on Sunday, but still.
Yeah, happy birthday. And despite his involvement in a 2016 public referendum, which led to what some people would call irreparable damage to the country, we have brought back Jay today. So yeah, how's it going, Jay?
Fucking hell. Don't compare me to that piece of that fucking man in a fucking human suit. I am okay. To be fair, I did do some crimes there. You could say it almost as egregious as David Cameron on stream playing Mass Effect last night.
I mean, that's like more Tony Blair, though, isn't it? Walk around.
It involved mass extinction, so yeah, it is probably more Tony Blair.
I also just want to clarify on behalf of the Untitled Wrestling Podcast that, to the best of our knowledge, Jay has never placed any part of his anatomy in a dead pig.
No, I can confirm I haven't done that.
He has consumed many dead pigs, though.
Yeah, more Ed Miliband than David Cameron.
Yeah, I do. When I do eat a bacon sandwich, it does kind of hang out my mouth like Cthulhu.
Like an ood.
That's more of a me problem than an Ed Miliband problem.
Oh, fantastic! There's your political commentary for the week. In case you're wondering, the day we record this, yeah, David Cameron has bleezed his way back into office. I think is the
wormed his way back.
Wormed.
Lathered himself up in bacon grease and gone back.
He's trotted back into Downing Street.
It did trot back in. He also did walk in with like the confidence of someone who's been caught robbing from a job and then been rehired.
I'm waiting for the this little piggy came home.
I was going to say, if you're like a Downing Street like staffer, like like the person who sets up the rooms, you'd be so tempted to just put a little bowl of Percy Pigs, wouldn't you, if you knew he was coming in?
Oh, I absolutely would.
Right, should we? Before we get into news, I think seeing as it is Faye's birthday, I think this is obviously a special occasion.
Oh no!
I think it's time. I think it's time to go DEFCON 5 on the TNA, on TNFaye as we're now calling it.
Are we doing it? Are we doing it?
So I think it's time to talk. Speaking of like terrible public relations, I think it's time to talk about Claire Lynch.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
So I'm doing this like off the top of my head from my trauma memory of this. So hopefully I don't get anything too mixed up. So we'll give you the backstory as well because we're nice people like that. So when helicopter enthusiast Ric Flair made his way into TNA in 2010, he basically decided to reform the Four Horsemen because it's literally the only thing he can do. And because WWE owned the name, he wasn't allowed to use the name The Four Horsemen. So he called them Fortune because that's got a 4 in it. Also, hilariously, he wasn't allowed to do the Four Horsemen hand signal. So he had to do it like basically the shocker. So it was it was like I'm holding it up. It was basically that because that's 4.
Yeah.
But that's not what that means. So you've got AJ Styles, you've got Beer Money, Robert Roode, and James Storm. You've got Desmond Wolfe, Nigel McGuinness, briefly, but then he got too popular and they kicked him out because TNA hated him for some reason. And Daniels and Kazarian. Now I know you're going to tell me, Faye, that's more than 4 people, but that's fine. You don't need to worry about that. And when they then added Matt Morgan and Doug Williams, you don't need to worry about that either. It was still the 4 Horsemen, so don't worry. I mean, it's fine.
Technically, the 4 Horsemen at any given time did have more than 4 people.
Yeah.
So that's okay. We can overlook
It's fine.
that.
That is but the smallest of aggressions that is going to happen in this entire story.
That's like a literally like a subtitle on this like drug-addled fever dream that we're about to tell you about.
That is a small piss into the sea of malevolence that this storyline will end up becoming. So anyway, so this goes on for a little while. As I say, I think they end up kicking out Desmond Wolfe just randomly because again he was dead popular. Remember when he won that viewing poll to see who got a title shot, and then they basically just sent him out to die because they didn't want the fans to cheer him, which is hilarious. Does not work for the Hulk. So anyway, we got to a point where I can't remember why it happened, but Christopher Daniels turned on AJ.
Yes, was I believe the official reason they gave.
Yeah, it just happened. So and at this time as well, Christopher Daniels was in a tag team with Frankie Kazarian. This is the tag team that became SCU. At the time,
Right.
they were called Bad Influence, and they were legitimately pretty entertaining.
I mean,
Yeah,
I can see that. I liked SCU a lot.
But this was like
Daniels was walking around with like a martini glass at all times for reasons.
Yeah, and as he was the ring general, he used to like wear medals on his entrance jacket, because that was his gimmick.
No, I don't like that.
It was good fun. Anyway, so this initially culminated in AJ Styles and Daniels having, I can't remember what type of match it was, but during the match, Daniels tried to legitimately stab AJ with a screwdriver that went into the top turnbuckle. And AJ sold it like he was like, "Oh my god, I'm a good Christian boy. I can't believe my friend would try and stab me with a screwdriver." Yeah, so that was the whole thing. Anyway,
so
it got to.
It was essentially just to kind of like put a little bit of a sort of not a little bit of subtext on it. It was essentially TNA had this habit of taking a storyline WWE had done years before and trying to rehash it as their own thing. So they did it, for example, with Eric Young after Daniel Bryan won the world title at WrestleMania. They then had Eric Young, just for no reason whatsoever, just win the world title with no real explanation. This was essentially...
No, Jay, it was because you had a beard. Come on.
All right, yeah, and he was an underdog. My bad. This was essentially like TNA trying to do the Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, I know something that you don't want people to know thing.
Yeah, so it started off, didn't it, with AJ basically accusing Daniels, because Daniels said something to Kazarian when they were both in Fortune, and then they both turned on AJ.
Yeah,
like there was like a secret, like very much like remember if you will cast your mind back, remember when Christian said something to Luchasaurus and it made him turn on Jungle Boy. Very much that sort of deal. And AJ was like, "What are you holding over Frankie?" Like everyone was just assuming that Daniels has some dirt on Kazarian. He's like made him turn. He's got the secret that Frankie Kazarian doesn't want it to get out, so he's having to work with Chris Daniels. And then eventually it came out, Chris. And I have to, before we get into this, because this is pure 24 karat shite. I have to commend.
So bad.
I have to commend Kazarian and Daniels, because they fucking they made this like from if it wasn't for them, this would be the worst thing ever. Whereas with their acting, it was kind of so bad it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
They kind of pulled it around a little bit and made it, at least while it was happening, somewhat entertaining. But looking back, it was a fucking train wreck.
Looking back, it was a train wreck.
At the time, you could kind of just roll with it because again, Daniels and Kaz every week were just. They put so much into it that it was kind of. I love how Faye doesn't even know where this is going yet, and she's just like hanging on this, twisting in the wind here. This is fantastic.
This is the story that got me to stop watching TNA.
It comes.
I stopped watching TNA. Let think of like how much I like shite in wrestling.
Yeah.
And this made me stop watching.
So this all came to a head when Daniels dropped the bombshell. He said, "This isn't about Frankie. This isn't about a secret I'm holding over Frankie's head. This is about AJ Styles." And he said, AJ Styles is having an affair with Dixie Carter. So that's where this starts. And then they've got footage of like a private eye showing like AJ and Dixie going into hotel rooms and having like these like sort of weird arguments and like really heated conversations. And like there's AJ saying like, what if they find out? And like, you know, there's like all this like weird language, and it looks very much like they're doing the Jeff and Karen Jarrett. So anyway, and so AJ Styles obviously flat out denies this. At this point, like the fans know that he's married. They've seen his wife on TV, like we saw her in WWE.
And they know Dixie Carter's married as well because her husband's always at ringside.
And not only is her husband at ringside, he also provided the vocals for Beer Money's theme song.
He did. He also then ends up in a mini feud with AJ Styles.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he comes out and tries to batter AJ for some reason. Because
yeah.
Is it because he pretend goosing his wife?
It's because AJ's apparently goosing his wife. Yeah. Anyway, so AJ and Dixie basically deny this for like a couple of weeks, and like Daniels and Kaz are like just taunting them about it, like pushing them. So eventually they decide to come clean, AJ and Dixie, and they're not having an affair. What they're doing. Now, Faye, before I tell you this, I want you to guess. They're not right. So they're actually not having an affair. Like there is something else at play here. What do you think they're doing? Have a guess. Have one guess.
God. I don't know. Building furniture or something like.
Right. They are providing support and counselling for a woman who is recovering from drug addiction. Yeah, I'm not lying. So the woman is in storyline. Her name is Claire Lynch, and so they bring her out, and she basically says, "Yeah, I'm an addict." AJ and this is literally like a local actress in the Florida area who's like normally on like commercials, who's just been brought in to like perform this role, and they bring her in. And she like. Yeah, I mean, this is her Citizen Kane. She's like, I'm an addict. AJ and Dixie are helping me, blah blah blah. So then we begin.
Why would
this
you tank your own career so horribly?
So then we begin this sort of spiral into further madness. And this is where it becomes like into the realm of so bad it's good. Is that Daniels and Kaz just? I'm pretty sure this is just a rib, and they're just seeing like how much ridiculous shit they can say every week.
You're missing something out big here, Tasty. Which is once there's the reveal, then Daniels and Kaz immediately accuse AJ of getting her pregnant, and she turns heel on AJ immediately and goes, "Yeah, you got me pregnant." Immediately, no build at all, just immediately turns heel.
It's literally like, yeah, as soon as the words come out of Daniel's mouth, she's like, "Yes, AJ, you did get me pregnant, and you've got to like make good for this baby. Like, 'cause this baby's coming, and you've got to do the right thing."
What?
Don't worry about it.
So this goes on and on and on, and like every week, like Daniels and Kazarian are like up in the ante. They're saying like, "Oh yeah, we've been for the scans and we've done all this, and AJ's got to do the right thing by this woman." And then it comes to a head where they basically claim that she's had the baby, and then Daniels like, "We've got proof that AJ's the father," and so they bring like a baby out, but it's like a doll. And it's wearing like an AJ Styles like ring gear, and Daniels is just there like straight face to the camera, like this is definitive proof that AJ's the father.
I don't know what to say.
Don't worry about it.
No, I'm gonna worry so much because this is fucking nuts.
And then, so if you're wondering, like, how does this all end? Where does this all go? Well, the true tragedy of all this is that we will never know, because while this was happening, and when it got to this point, TNA fans found the name of the actress who played Claire Lynch and basically abused her online so badly that she quit.
Yeah.
Oh, well done, wrestling fans.
And then that was it. They just dropped the entire storyline.
Well, they did a match. They'd announced a match just before this, which was AJ versus Daniels, where if AJ won, he'd get to take a paternity test, and if he didn't, he'd have to do the right thing.
Feels like Roderick Strong. This feels like neck strong levels of like bullshit.
Oh, it's much worse than this.
Yeah, it sounds it. I don't doubt that.
Yeah, so the actress who played Claire Lynch quit because essentially wrestling fans were like, "Why are you doing this to my wrestling?"
Oh God.
Bear in mind,
And-
this was like AJ Styles in his physical prime as well, when he was probably the best wrestler in the world, if not like top 5.
This was AJ Styles a year off going to New Japan and winning the IWGP World Title.
He's incredible, then.
Like, this is like literally where AJ's about to be at his peak.
So I think it's a combination of this storyline and the fact that they literally don't want to pay him any money that makes him quit TNA.
I'm not surprised. Like, how?
Daniels left after this storyline. He went to Ring of Honor and became Ring of Honor World Champion.
He did.
I just want to be like, I want to go back in time and be a fly on the wall in this fucking production meeting.
I want to go back in time and shoot. I want to go back in time and shoot Hulk Hogan before he signed for TNA.
I mean, yeah, that too. But like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I want to be that fly on the wall in that. So like,
was this also around the time, Jay, that they lied about not hiring Vince Russo back and got kicked off Spike TV?
I believe it was, yes.
So TNA were on a channel in America called Spike TV, and they paid for a lot of the production, and their sort of TV negotiations were coming up. And Vince Russo had been let go from the company a couple of months back. One of when they re-signed their TV rights deal with Spike, one of the Spike's executives demands was, you can't bring Vince Russo back. We don't want him involved in the product in any way. We don't want him on our network. And so Dixie was like, yeah, that's absolutely fine, no problem at all. And then basically brought him back and paid him under the table to keep writing TNA. And then
you had one job.
And then the Spike TV found that was and cancelled their TV deal. So they ended up on a TV station called Destination America, which I don't have a fucking clue what that is.
Well, Destination America was kind of like a travel channel. Also on the same channel, on the same sort of time slot, was Ring of Honor, which was considerably more successful at the time.
Yeah, it's weird, yeah.
Because it was TNA. Well, it was Impact followed by Ring of Honor, and then they lost that TV deal, and I believe Ring of Honor went somewhere else.
Sinclair.
It probably would have been, yeah.
Impact are on Access now, aren't they?
They are, yeah. Well, but it was a fucking roller coaster getting there. They were on a channel called Pursuit at one point, which was essentially
this is like
a hunting channel.
Yeah, this is like if AEW were on like TV Gold or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, they were like, to be fair, TNA have had success like going to channels that are kind of outside the box. Like they did Challenge TV over here,
yeah,
and it worked out like
Bravo. I remember them on Bravo. That was the big one.
Yeah, after Bravo, they went to Challenge TV, and it worked out a treat for them because people would get in drunk like myself.
Now, aren't they?
Pass.
Yeah.
But
that's New Japan.
At one point as well, New Japan are on Access TV as well. At one point as well,
Impact followed by New Japan on Access.
Yeah. At one point as well, Impact didn't have a TV deal, so they were streaming Impact on Twitch, which I miss those days because that was great.
That's insane.
I'd get to watch it live. Like, it was fucking great because I'd just like get the VPN set up and go like stick on Twitch. Also at one point, just completely off topic, AAA used to stream Triple Mania on Twitch, and they'd let people like share it. So essentially, you could do a watch along with the actual stream, and you on like the side.
You could watch it on Facebook, couldn't you?
Yeah.
I watched Kenny versus Andrade on Facebook.
With all the little heart likes coming up, like evaporating off the bottom of the screen, like
yeah, it was painful. I was also sleep deprived that day anyway because I just watched New Japan, and then I woke up to watch New Japan way earlier than when New Japan was on, and then I watched AAA, and then went straight to New Japan and didn't sleep at all.
Yeah, you never want to watch AAA and go straight into New Japan. That's like asking for trouble.
It was like a fever dream, honestly.
I remember watching that lockdown Triple Mania where Laredo Kid kicked out of the One-Winged Angel.
Yeah, and wasn't that the one where the commentators bladed?
Yeah, the commentator fell out his chair and gigged. It was the fucking best thing ever. He literally, it wasn't even like he fucking took a bad fall. He literally just fell out his chair and like comedy landed on his ass. And then next thing you know, the camera goes off him. He comes back and he's pissing blood. This was the same commentator, Hugo Savinovich, who also had a table full of pharmaceuticals.
Okay,
on
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was the one where I don't know if it was like Psycho Clown or another like clown-based Mexican wrestler. His dad.
They have a lot of clowns.
His dad had died, and his opponent hit him over the head with a portrait of his dead dad. Like
that sounds par for the course for Mexico. To be fair,
it was fucking insane.
That doesn't sound like anything too out of the ordinary. To be honest with you, Faye. That's like just a standard day in the office.
Anyway, TNA's a headache.
Yeah, so that was this week's TNFaye. I don't know how we're going to top that. We'll try something else next week. We'll try and dig something.
Every single day, I'm burdened by new information against my will.
Tasty, did you see what I tagged you both in on Discord?
Yeah, so I think we should all watch that for next week and talk about it. That should be next week's TNFaye.
Yeah. Speaking of things we should talk about, I feel like before we go into news, there's something I want to just kind of address because it's a big thing in wrestling. At time of recording, it marks the 18th year anniversary of Eddie Guerrero's passing. An absolute tour de force in wrestling, like literally one of the most influential names there was. So I know we've done a podcast kind of talking about some of our favourite Eddie moments, but Faye, you weren't involved in that. So I thought I'd throw it to you. Any specific Eddie things you want to bring up at all?
Ones that really stuck with me, especially as like a girl watching wrestling in the Attitude Era growing up, like his entire, like all of his stuff that he did with China, like really, really stuck with me. Like that whole thing, that was something that I like really enjoyed.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, he was fantastic though, wasn't he? Like even going back and like watching like his stuff in other promotions, which is something that I've done since getting back into wrestling. It's really good.
There's a match that it's quite easy to find, but he writes about it in his book, which is why I thought I'd mention it. That he had after he'd just been released from WWE and cleaned up, and it was just before Rey Mysterio got signed to WWE as well. I think it was in like 2003, and it's him versus a very young CM Punk versus Rey Mysterio in a triple threat, and it's unreal. It's one of
what promotions it were?
It was with IWA Mid-South. It's
might be on IWTV to be fair.
It's on YouTube. It's so easy to find. I'll find a link for you after. But if you get a chance, definitely go watch that because it just shows like how good Eddie was. He had like a little run in like the early days of Ring of Honor as well. Like in his book, he name drops like CM Punk and Christopher Daniels as two of like the future stars of the industry, which is wild to think about. But yeah, I heard a story I hadn't heard of about him actually today, which was when he was literally he just won WWE Championship, and he was on a house show. He just defended it, and he had his two daughters in the ring, and some guy threw a beer at him, and it just missed one of Eddie's little girls, and Eddie, calm as anything, walks them all into the back. And like the fans were like, oh, that's really weird that Eddie would just be so cool about that. And a few moments later, he shot out the curtain and dived on this guy who was getting arrested. And like the fans were like going, Eddie, please don't do it. You've just won the WWE title. We don't want you to lose it. And he just stopped and went, oh, thanks for calming me down there, guys. That was I can't remember the guy's name. He's quite a prominent Twitter person. I think it was a Kenny for my thoughts, who shared that story. But yeah, it's just cool. Yeah, a Kenny for your thoughts. At _ Kenny thoughts for anyone who wants to follow that account. They usually share lots of like really cool, insightful things. But yeah, just thought I wanted to make sure we mentioned him because he's one of my all-time favorites for sure.
Oh, but it's been 18 years, man. Eddie's passing is one of those moments where you just remember where you were when you found out. It's like it's one of them where like the world seemed to just stop for a minute, didn't it? When you found out it was that much of a shock. It was like such a huge thing. I echo what Faye said though. Like all of his stuff with China was chef kiss. I mean, with Eddie for me, it's obviously the big moments. There's like the debut with the Radicals, the title wins, the triple threat match, the match at Mania. But for me, it's the little things. It's like the Latino heat. It's like coming out on the lowrider. It's like all the comedy he did because he was a fantastic wrestler, but he did comedy so well as well.
Yeah, he was just like you look at people who do the kind of whole hit the floor with the chair and throw it like MJF's pretty much a lot of the stuff that he does is took straight from Eddie's playbook.
You got to think about that moment with Gene. I can't remember who was fighting. And he did the Eddie Guerrero spot with the belt, which resulted eventually in the ref getting disqualified.
That was actually the show me and Sarah went to in Sheffield, the Progress show. It was him and Magath.
Yeah.
They ended up both like going down, and like LK was holding the belt, and then the ref kicked LK out, which was it was phenomenal.
That's fantastic.
Because there was a ref bump, so LK came down as a second ref, and then she ended up getting ejected by the first ref when he recovered.
That's mental.
I like incredible.
That yeah, it's cool to see the impact that Eddie still has on the business.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was a little bit of a design to this as well that I wanted to segue into something else. So someone who has been massively inspired by Eddie Guerrero, who was very not shy about it at all, is Mercedes Moné. She actually gave an update on her return earlier today, saying that I cannot wait to be back in the ring. Expect me to return with some wrestling company in 2024 for sure. I can't wait to be back in the squared circle. It's where I feel the most home. It's where I feel alive. I just can't wait to be back. I've been healing everything mentally, physically, spiritually, physically, everything. I'm really excited to get back to where I live and what I do best. So yeah, where do we think that she's ending up? Apparently, I didn't realize she'd worked all her dates for New Japan.
Yeah, so like surely that's AEW, right? I mean, she was at All In,
I'd be very surprised if she didn't show up in AEW. I don't know. I mean, I think with Triple H being back in charge in WWE, she's more likely to return than she would have been.
Yeah.
But I also think that she seems to just want to kind of like wrestle a different style to what she was wrestling.
It very much sounds like she just wants to experience like other environments, doesn't it? Like she wants to just have these other experience, have these like other like experiences, go to these other places, like you say, wrestle these other people. Because it's a very good chance she will end up back in WWE, if not necessarily right now, maybe in a couple of years' time. But if she goes back to WWE now, it's the same 5 people she's going to wrestle.
Yeah, it's less.
Well,
because like Naomi's not there as well.
They've done a lot of kind of sort of rehabbing with like NXT, for example. They've built a lot of the women up in NXT who are ready now to come to the main roster. And obviously,
I'd like to see Mercedes and Io Sky, to be fair.
Yeah, I think that was a match we didn't get to see. I'd like to see her and Kyrie again. I'd like to see her and Asuka have more matches because they have really good chemistry. Her and Bayley have good chemistry. There's people who were just kind of breaking onto the main roster when she left, like Shotzi and Tegan Knox, who would have compelling matches with her for sure. I think that's one thing that, like, I wouldn't necessarily be gutted if she went back to WWE because I think there is a lot of potentially fun matches she can have, and obviously she's a completely different competitor to who she was when she walked out of the company 18 months ago. To now.
Mad, isn't it, that like a year ago we were talking about how we all want to see AEW like Mercedes Moné versus Jade Cargill, and now they're gonna have that match in WWE.
Yeah,
wild.
what a year it's been.
And the thing is as well, like we're not even taking into account the fact that she's just had a wrestling company there. Like we're assuming it's WWE or AEW. She could go back to Stardom. She could go to Ring of Honor is basically AEW. GCW. She could Could just do like
Joshi.
Yeah, TNA.
I think the big thing is though she could sign like a 6 month or 1 year deal with AEW and then still do all that, which I think is
and still go. I could see that, to be honest. I could see her having like a very short contract.
Well, I think as well,
external one and going back.
I think as well, like the fact that obviously she's done like Star Wars and like she was literally like handpicked by Jon Favreau for that role in Star Wars. She can kind of demand the fee that she wants and like demand like her terms because she's got that mainstream appeal now.
Right, hear me out. How about this then? She debuts in AEW. She wins the belt off probably Tony Storm, who's going to have it at Revolution. She carries the belt for a few. Say she's got a deal for like 6 months or whatever. Or whatever, a little bit longer. She carries the belt for a few months and then she drops it at All In again to Saraya again, and there's your match.
Yeah.
Or Mariah May, because another English wrestler.
My heart.
We are going to talk about that a little bit later. I'm pinning a lot on Faye's emotional response to this.
Oh,
I know. She teased the UK tour, didn't she, before she got injured? So I wouldn't be surprised if she's shown up in, I don't know where, like Progress, probably the most likely, isn't it?
What about this one on the blower? And he's got her in.
Imagine that. Imagine she just shows up at TNT. Because she.
Have her an Infamous.
She asked about she asked about like what British talent she should keep an eye on, and almost unanimously people said Lizzie Evo and Alexis Falcon.
Yeah.
So I get the feeling that, I mean, it could have been that she was contacted by 1PW, which obviously that ain't happening anymore.
Oh my god!
And imagine like if they hadn't fucking paid her, that would have been. Like, that would have been it.
Oh.
We wouldn't have ever got Mercedes back on these shows ever again.
Ever.
But I do think that I wouldn't be surprised if she shown up in maybe a Rev Pro, because they've got the ties to New Japan.
Yeah.
Either way, it's exciting to speculate. Like we did
Royal
this time
Quest
last year when
Royal Quest is in October as well. If he wants to do a UK date and keep it with Nuge.
Just to, obviously, we said about her like not having any New Japan dates left. However, to sort of follow on from this, Rocky Romero did an interview a week or so back, and he basically said he's keeping in touch with her, and whenever she's clear to return to the ring, he'll be in touch. Like he's
I don't think it's a case of like her being done, as in like she doesn't want to work with New Japan anymore. I just think it's her working her scheduled dates.
Yeah,
like. Because there's still a few matches that I want to see here in New Japan, you know what I mean?
Bushiro got to pull up some more Monet if they want a Mercedes back.
I think the big money match in like New Japan and Stardom is Mercedes versus Julia, isn't it?
Wrestle Kingdom.
Well, based on what we hear, that might happen in WWE as well. So.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Well, that's just very true. That's just pure sadness, isn't it? Like that's like the Curse Monkeys part. Like I want Mercedes Moné versus Julia. Okay, you can have it, but it's in the WWE ring, and they're going to wrestle WWE style.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird, isn't it? Because like Triple H has obviously allowed a lot of people to. I don't want to say take more liberties, but obviously have a little bit more of like creative expression with what they're doing in the ring, with the exception of a lot of pile drivers, which makes me sad because just Kevin Owens just wants to hit one package pile driver. But I do also think it wouldn't necessarily like look at, for example, Sasha and Bayley from TakeOver, which arguably the best women's match, one of the best matches WWE's put on in the last decade, and like that was certainly not wrestled in any style that you'd expect to see in a WWE ring.
No.
The finish was a fucking top rope poison rana, for Christ's sake. I remember like seeing that after finishing a shift in work and like dropping me beer. But yeah, either way, I think it's wherever Mercedes goes, it's certainly compelling, and it's certainly something I'll be keeping my eye on.
Yeah. Obviously, you can tell we're sort of stretching this out. That there's not a lot of news this week, is there? So
No.
we're just kind of trying to fill out. I mean, we have got some good news. Carmella and Corey Graves welcomed their child into the world, which was lovely.
It did.
So
Yeah.
big congratulations to them. Chris Jericho beat Takeshita in DDT. Yeah. Some other.
Yeah.
So do you want me to go through the results of that pay-per-view?
Yes.
It was a bit of a fever dream, wasn't it? So yeah, let's do it.
It's DDT, so of course it is. Let's see if I can
I
get
think
it.
you were just like, it's a normal thing and nothing weird happened. It was totally fine. That would be cursed.
I mean, that would be cursed, but instead we got what we got, which is fine.
It was delightful, is
So
what it was.
so it was called Ultimate Party. My God, there were a lot of matches.
There were.
So,
Do you want to just talk about the ones that like the big ones, shall we say?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, well, I want to talk about the most important one first, which was for the Iron Man Heavy Metalweight Championship.
Yes.
So, at this match, the champion coming in was Hiromu Takahashi, because of course he was, Iron Man Heavy Metalweight Champion. So if people don't know, listeners don't know, the Iron Man Heavy Metalweight Championship is basically the old hardcore title / 24/7 title from WWE, except it can be won by anyone or anything.
Yeah. Even itself.
Yeah. So if I go back to I'm just going to check this, make sure I get it right, because this was quite specific. So there's been currently over 1,500 champions.
Yeah.
So Takahashi took on Kazuki Hirata, and Takahashi won. He won the match to retain the championship. And then after the match, he lay down in the ring with his IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship on his chest. The referee counted to 3. So the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship won the Iron Metal Heavyweight Championship, which was incredible.
History made.
And then immediately after that, Kazuki Hirata pinned the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship to win the Iron Man Heavy Metalweight Championship.
I love the fact that I love the fact that like Takahashi just sold it like in absolute like shock that he'd been betrayed by his own belt.
Yeah, well, earlier this year, like literally earlier this, like late last month, Takahashi fell asleep holding his phone, and his phone pinned him.
I'm waiting for the cat. The stuffed cat Daryl that he has. Like, I'm waiting for that.
Other Yoshihiko's won this belt loads. Won it in the collective shows earlier this year, which was really good fun.
Hasn't a printer won it? Like something that printed out of like a fax machine or something.
So I can read you off some of the inanimate objects: a ladder, a baseball bat, Yoshihiko several times. The title itself has been its own champion. Vince McMahon's Hollywood Walk of Fame star, a pork bun, a trash bin, a pair of chopsticks, a beer can. There was one, wasn't there, where like an iPad fell on. Yeah, everyone who's watching on stream won because like someone's iPad fell over and landed on them. A printed email was one.
Yeah.
So at one point, the 100,000 subscribers to DDT's official YouTube channel won.
That includes
the Invisible
me.
Man.
Yeah. The Young Bucks autobiography, Killing the Business, has been champion.
Amazing.
I know Joey Janela had a title defense against Yoshihiko in a sauna. I say in a sauna. It started on a beach and it ended in a sauna.
Okay.
Yeah, it was wild.
A stuffed Junker Seidel as well has won the belt twice.
Of course it has. You'll love to see it. Speaking of Yoshihiko as well, our boy Mao defeated Matt Cardona to win the DDT Universal Championship.
Yes.
There was a ref bump, and Yoshihiko became the referee.
Amazing.
Which, brilliant.
So again, for people who aren't aware of Yoshihiko, oh my god, I just clicked. So Yoshihiko is a doll that is treated as a professional wrestler. Holds victories over a lot of big wrestlers.
Yeah.
Oh, The Addiction have also won it.
Yeah, oh yeah. So yeah.
The Addiction, also known as Bad Influence.
Yeah.
So obviously the match on the card that has the most sort of relevance for Western audiences, for anyone who's watching, or anyone who's listening to our podcast knows we're fairly AEW heavy. Obviously Chris Jericho took on Konosuke Takeshita. Obviously this is Takeshita's home like promotion, basically. It's where he was before he turned.
Is the ace of DDT.
Yeah. Well, not anymore. He's not, because the
I'm now. Don't worry about it.
Le Champion took him out with he tapped out to the Walls of Jericho.
I have a feeling that this is going to play into something more with Jericho and Takeshita, where essentially Takeshita's going to get that win back in AEW to make a bigger deal of it.
Apparently, the match was really good. I'm not seeing it, but apparently it was like great. It was another one of those like Jericho rolls back the years sort of performances where he just busts out shit he's not done for ages.
Yeah. Jericho said it was his favourite match he's had all year, and it was the best match he's had all year. And to be fair, Chris Jericho's had some bangers this year.
He's gone all right, hasn't he? Yeah, he's.
We just ignore that match he had with Adam Cole. Like we just forget about the Adam Cole.
See, the mad thing about the Adam Cole match is he had like a much better version of that match with Roddy Strong like a week earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the mad thing about the Adam Cole match is, on paper, that should have been fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I still can't believe they advertised Sabu as like the special enforcer, and he did like one move at the start and then just fucked off.
Don't worry about it.
Also, what else annoys me? Adam Cole hasn't won a street fight in AEW, and like their matches that I associate with Adam Cole, like
He's too
so
pure.
much.
He's too pure.
Adam Cole didn't win many street fights in WWE. He'd always be the guy on the receiving end of getting his ass fucking handed to him.
You know who is going to win a street fight though? Next year, Budge. Budge is going to go on a street fight winning streak.
All capitals, Budge.
All capitals.
Speaking of Adam Cole as well, did you see that Chris Danger made his DPW debut? Obviously, he called out Adam Cole. He's a good friend of Adam Cole. For anyone who doesn't know, Chris Danger is Chris Denker. He's a YouTuber who's very good friends with The Party. He's actually done a stream of him and Adam Cole playing Mario Party, and his dogs wouldn't leave Adam Cole alone because they loved him too much. So it's just Adam Cole getting really happy with dogs, just licking him all the time while playing Mario Party. Really wholesome. But he was meant to wrestle Adam Cole. Adam Cole said he had a replacement, which was one of his trainers, Sean Spears.
Yeah.
And Chris Denker went through a table and has a hole in his arm now.
Yeah, well, that looked. I've seen the picture. That looked fucking awful.
Yeah, but it's not put him off, which is cool. He's just more kind of determined to come back and wrestle. That show will be available on DPW streaming service next week, which I do need to start getting, because they also had a rematch of the Workhorsemen and GYV, which we need.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Speaking of AEW talent going over to Japan, it was also announced this week that Gate of Agony are going to be in the World Tag League.
Yeah, and Monster Source.
Nice. And Monster Source, I saw that.
Which is Lance Archer and Alex Zane.
A shared love of Taco Bell, if you will.
It's so good.
I'm just excited for Prince. If Prince Nana's going to be there in New Japan, that'd be.
Oh my god.
Just to kind of go through that as well, some of the other teams that were announced, Shota Umino and Ren Narita, Ishii and Yano.
I've just been sent the actual blocks by Sarah. If you'd like me to read them out.
Yeah, I had it up. Ready, but by all means, I've got the 2 blocks. Yeah.
Yeah, so A block is as you say, Shota Umino, Ren Narita, Tomohiro Ishii and Toru Yano, Great Khan and Aaron Hanare, or Hanare as he's now known, Mikey Nichols and Shane Haste, Alex Coughlin and Gabe Kidd, Evil and Yujiro Takahashi, Kirimiya and Ryohei Oiwa, and the Gate of Agony. Yeah, and the Gate of Agony. That's block A, and then block B is Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi. That's that Bishamon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yuji Nagata, Minoru Suzuki, Hikuleo and ELP, Taichi and Yuya Umura, Yota Tsuji and Zed. Atlantis Junior.
Zed
He's like
was announced.
mystery person.
No,
was
it was announced. I'll find out who it was now.
Atlantis Jr. and Soberano Jr., Lance Archer and Alex Zane, as we talked about, and Bad Luck Farley and Jack Bonza.
Cute, yeah. I'm glad he's back in.
There's some banger themes in there. That'll be a good time.
Yeah.
Kid is going to be facing Eddie Kingston at some point for the for his belt, because he came out and attacked Eddie after he faced Kojima. He defended successfully.
I need to see Eddie vs Kojima. I bet that's.
I need to watch that pay-per-view.
I bet that literally slapped.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was Zandokan who has been announced as Yota Tsuji's partner. According to a lot of people, he's one of the best young guys in CMLL.
Oh, sweet.
So potential new addition to LIJ.
Yeah, that AEW CMLL deal's paying off already, isn't it? It's like,
yeah.
Incredible. We got any more news you want to talk about?
I did see something then, and I've lost it. So bear with me a second while I do find it.
Is it official?
Oh, here we go. Not so much news, but something I just want to make everyone reminded of is that on Friday we do have Chris Hero's return to action against Timothy Thatcher.
He's been tweeting about this all week, and I'm so excited.
It is free to watch on YouTube.
What?
Yeah, Joseph Montesio is doing a video on it as well, on the history of them. Which
I imagine Joseph Montesio is just like rocking back and forth and speaking in tongues in his room, because like this is if he's anything like me, this is all he's ever wanted for like 5 years.
I believe that's going out at some point tonight.
Excellent.
But the card as well, like it obviously the main event is Chris Hero versus Timothy Thatcher, which yes please. But it's also got Starboy Charlie versus Chris Bay, which will be good.
I want to watch Joe watch that match. Just for watch him do a set.
There's something that you'll probably like, Tasty. So there's Prisoners of Society, who are the old Forgotten Sons minus Jackson Riker.
So the good ones.
Yeah. Steve Macklin and Weston Blake. They're wrestling a team that's just called Beef Tank. Which is a guy called Beef and Calvin Tankman. And yeah, there's a few other people on the card that you'd know. Brian Keith, Masha Slamovich.
Brian Keith's having a big year, a big couple of months, isn't he? He's doing good on himself.
First announced as the first entrant into Super Strong Style 16, which means he's going to be in the UK next year, which hopefully we'll get to see him somewhere a little bit closer than London, because don't want to go to London. Yeah, Kevin Blackwood and Rachel Ellering also on that card. So yeah, there's quite a lot of cool people on there. A lot of names.
Blackwood.
Yeah, very good. A lot of names I'm not too familiar with that I'm looking forward to checking out. I'm gonna probably try and watch this show either Saturday morning or live on the Friday. But I've got a feeling it's gonna be like. I've got a feeling it's gonna be a late one because it's West Coast, so it'll probably be like.
Yeah.
It'll probably be like a 3
video
a.m.
is going to be dropping on West Coast Pro's YouTube channel tonight.
Speaking of West Coast, should we share a bit of bad news about West Coast Wrestling? In the chap who runs PWG put a post out.
Super Dragon. Yeah.
Basically said the reason there's been no PWG shows the last few months is that his partner's been battling a very aggressive form of cancer. Obviously, things have taken apparently his words, things taken a turn for the worse, and he's hoping to get shows back in 2024. But as of now, there's no time for him. While obviously he supports his partner as best he can.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Big love to Super Dragon.
Yes, big love to Super Dragon indeed. Hopefully everything's okay with that, and they're all just in a good place.
Mm-hmm.
Because you never want to hear anything like that. There is some more Wrestle Kingdom related news. 2 matches got announced today.
It's just at this point now. It just feels like we're like weaponizing this against Faye, because this is just it's just how
I heard
excited,
2 more matches and my ears were like, what?
how excited can we make Faye in one podcast?
One of these matches I'd like to see. One not so much. So do the one that not so much. It's Shingo Takagi defending the Never Openweight Championship against Tama Tonga. Yeah.
Oh, I like
Shingo's
that.
good. Shingo's
you,
good.
You might get to see a Tama Tonga title win. What a collector's item.
I mean, remember when Tama Tonga and Carl Anderson had that match on Wrestle Kingdom, which was a match that happened this year.
Oh, I'm not blaming that on Tama though. I'm really not.
I'm blaming it on both of them being very uninteresting.
Boo.
That it was literally like 2 slices of brown bread being next to each other, with no.
Was it Carl Anderson who had that match that was so bad that Inoki came down and told the referee to stop it?
No, it was Gallows.
Oh my god, really? Is that a thing?
Yeah, he just came down to ringside and just told the referee, like, shut that shit down, like, right now.
Yeah, it was Gallows versus, I believe, Sylvester Takai, who was like an MMA fighter. And Inoki came out and was like, shut that shit down, and then made them come back out and apologize to the fans.
Oh my god.
And then just started screaming at them both to get back in the back.
I love that.
And yeah, the other match that got announced today is Zack Sabre Jr. defending the New Japan World TV title against Tanahashi.
Tanahashi's in danger. Why did he keep doing this to Tanahashi?
I mean, like, Zack Sabre Jr. nearly took his leg home with him when they wrestled in the G1.
Why does Gato hate Tanahashi's knees so much?
Yeah.
It's like Gato keeps like giving Tanahashi little like nudges, like going, Hiroshi, maybe you need to just start winding it down a bit. Your knees can't do what
it's Tanahashi's birthday today. Was this his birthday gift from New Japan?
If you don't retire, I'll book you in Zack again and again and again until your knees don't exist anymore.
If you don't hurry up and retire, I'm going to tear your knees out myself. And by doing that, I'm going to book you against Zack Sabre Jr. again. There are 2 matches that got announced for Wrestle Kingdom today.
That'll be good.
That card is starting to fill up.
So it'll be good, but I'll also just be very concerned while watching that match.
Also, it sounds like we might be getting Athena versus Thunder Rosa at Final Battle. That's breaking.
Thunder Rosa got involved with Billy Starks, didn't she, in a Billy Starks match?
She did.
More importantly, when are we getting Athena versus Speedball?
Well, Speedball and Billy Starks had a match yesterday, and Billy Starks spat on Speedball.
Did you see what Athena put up on? Did you see what Athena put up and asked him to be a minion?
Yeah. I'd be okay with minion Speedball.
Mm-hmm.
He is a menace. He's just like, he just comes across really positive, and then he starts killing people with knees and murder.
Perfect minion.
Right, shall we move on to some AEW? Talk about some bits, because there's been a lot gone on this week that we need to talk about. Dynamite. Well, we start with Dynamite. I thought this was a really, really, really good Dynamite. Probably one of the best for a long time. I know a lot of people were down on. I know a lot of people were down on last week's, and this felt like a response to that sort of criticism.
I was gonna say, given the fact that last week's TV felt kind of lackluster at times, this was like a return to form for sure.
So interesting thing to start with, and we'll come back to this. But at the end of Dynamite, I want to talk a bit about the whole thing. Adam Cole was on a video call with MJF, and he was basically advising him to take Samoa Joe's offer to be his tag team partner at Full Gear.
Yeah, Adam Cole's up to something.
Which is interesting. Anyway, there was a lot going on here, and then like Daniel Garcia was there. I liked MJF doing a Matt Menard impression. That was really fun.
That's so good.
MJF's doing the Lord's work at the minute, isn't he?
Yeah, and then Daniel Garcia basically said he's going to be a professional wrestler tonight. And yeah, Q 2.0 looking perplexed. And then Adam, Roddy Strong comes in, and yeah, MJF's like, no, fuck off, basically. And then Roddy tries to talk to Adam, and Adam just ends the video call. which was great. So then we start with MJF versus Danny Garcia straight off the bat. Really fun match. Doesn't go too long, about 10, 11 minutes. But I think there's just enough here to sort of get everything across. Daniel Garcia looked really good. MJF won. Yeah, can't complain.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more from Garcia in this match.
Agreed.
I understand that obviously it was more a case of just showing MJF as a fighting champion. I think it wouldn't have hurt to, given the way MJF was promoting this match as well.
Danny was portrayed this whole week. That I'm going to say once we get to Collision.
No, I think in this match, and I think what we're sort of seeing in the storyline now, there's like a sort of theme of Garcia, like he's working within himself. He's not working to his full potential because he's held it back for so long, being, I suppose, being in the Jericho Appreciation Society. I think it's almost got to the point where he's in storyline, like stunted his own talent.
I can see that.
And I think what happens later in the week is him trying to sort of break out of that mold, which we'll talk about when we get there. But yeah, match was really fun. And MJF won with the salt of the earth, which was nice. We haven't seen that for a little while.
MJF was working over Garcia's arm all match, wasn't he, as well?
Yeah. MJF had some lovely moves in this match as well. Like when he did that sort of like side gut wrench like suplex thing.
Yeah,
that was really nice. Like it was like almost like a sort of Spanish fly, but no one jumped. He just sort of did it from like a deadlift, which was kind of weird, but also really awesome. Yeah, so MJF just sending out these sort of casual reminders that look, I'm not a limited wrestler. I can do quite a lot of things here.
Yeah,
which was actually pretty cool.
Yeah. After this, we did get as well a really great video package of Mark Briscoe. Which, do you think with Mark Briscoe, they just brief him, say, try and make Lexi laugh?
Yeah.
All he does is just do his normal promo, but then he's trying his hardest to like, because he looks at Lexi all the time, doesn't he? As if to see if she's gonna crack.
Can we just take a moment to just appreciate how good Lexi's become in her role?
Yeah,
Lexi's great. She's brilliant.
She's so comfortable. She was a little bit sort of like rabbit in the headlights when she first got to AEW, but I think now she's got really comfortable. She's like really natural. She's really like she just fits in so well. She knows when to play it like serious. She knows when to like mug for the camera a little bit and like act a bit like it's she's not quite at that Renee level, but she's not far off.
I think she's definitely like we talk about how there's a lot of kind of really good influence backstage in AEW with people who have kind of been around the business for a long time, sort of guiding hands, if you will. So like we talk about like Hobbs, for example, and like Satnam Singh, and it's like they're two big men who've got like arguably two of the best big men of their generation, and Mark Henry and Paul White, who are just there to give them input, like give them knowledge. And I think with this as well, you're looking at backstage interviewers, you've got the likes of Tony Schiavone and Renee, who are both excellent at what they do in that role. And even people like Alex Marvez is like getting better at what he does, and
JR as well, like being there to give
JR.
I like the kind of sort of flustering dorkery that is Alex Marvez. I think he fits that role really well.
Yeah,
I like the fact that Alex Marvez is like reporter on the scene. It's fucking brilliant.
Like it came to a head. It came to a head, didn't it, when the Bucks were turning heel, and he was like trying to get the scoop on like Kenny and the Bucks all the time.
Yeah.
When he broke into Kenny's house to try and get the scoop. Oh, so good. But yeah, I think to go back to the point about Lexi, I think that there's a lot of really good kind of people who can kind of influence her to sort of like do like these little things and become more comfortable in doing that. And I think there's a lot, like, that's one thing that AEW, like when people go on about, oh, they've got all these people that they're just there. And it's like, well, actually, you don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. Like they do have a really good team of like experienced people working behind the scenes to help these people who are like sort of like new into the business.
Yeah. Right, next up then we had Sting and Darby taking on the Outrunners, which is a shame because I love the Outrunners, but they got absolutely squashed here because obviously they did. Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd, what top lads.
I need to see the Outrunners versus Dan the Dad and Cool Uncle Colt. That was
apparently it was a really good match. Yeah, apparently it was really good.
Yeah, I've heard it's fantastic. It's on Glory Pro's YouTube. I need to go check it out.
So yeah, that was just a fun little. I think at this point we're just, this is part of the Sting retirement tour now, isn't it? Just send Sting out to hit a Scorpion Death Drop and a Scorpion Deathlock on people so the crowd can pop, and it's like, yeah, okay, this is cool.
And it was cool as well to get two like of his old opponents from an episode of WCW Saturday Night.
Two random 80s guys.
Yeah, just there ready. They wrestled him when he was surfacing as well, so it's a cool little full circle moment.
Then we had, I love this, so we had Tony Schiavone, again talking about that backstage experience. Tony Schiavone doing a sit-down interview in black and white with Tony Storm and Hikaru Shida. And I love that Shida just has no time for Tony's bullshit. Tony Storm's bullshit. She just doesn't care, does she? She's like, what the fuck are you doing? This is nonsense. Like, stop it right now.
Well, in Shida's head, she's kind of caused this like mental break, hasn't she?
Yeah. And then Tony gets up and goes to throw a shoe at it, and Shida just knocks it out of her hand.
I love the fact that Tony kept calling it Hikaru instead of Hikaru as well.
Yeah.
Like just rolling up to him like, Hikaru!
But yeah, really good fun. Like, Tony's killing it in this role. I think she's probably going to win, especially with what happens later in the episode, which we'll talk about when Faye calms down.
So I think that there's a few ways they can go about this. Like, I think it makes sense for Tony to win it, but I also think now that they brought this extra element into it, that could be like a reason.
I see where you're going. We'll talk about that when we get there. But yeah, I'm buying what you're selling on this one. Next up, then, Swerve versus Penta. This is just the continuation of Swerve's late push for the rest of the year because fuck me, he's putting the work in, isn't he?
Oh Jesus, this match was so good.
I mean, words fail me. This was excellent.
This was like the start of my descent into absolute normalcy and totally acceptable behavior.
Do you like arm murder? Because I love arm murder.
Do you like Penta's wrist actually snapping?
I mean, it's about time someone did it to him.
Well, he did it as well. They were like just with both feet, just like standing on it. I was like, oh no, it was so grothy.
They like, I can't remember these two having a match in Lucha Underground, which is mad to me.
No, I don't think they did.
But I want more Swerve and Penta.
But yeah, Swerve hit that powerbomb into a Death Valley Driver again, which was just absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
that looked really nice. And then he snapped Penta's wrist and then hit the Swerve Stomp for the win. After the match, a wild Hangman appears. I love this. So Hangman runs in and like with a chair because Swerve's trying to take Penta's mask off. So Hangman runs in with a chair, and then Swerve bails out the ring and just starts walking slowly up the ramp, and Hangman just runs after him and whacks him.
Evil Hangman in all black.
One thing that was cool with like the way Swerve did that though was because he broke Penta's arm. Penta couldn't defend his mask coming off, so he was literally defenseless.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't cover his face or anything. It was like, that's just like sinister the way Swerve's just fucking done that.
But then punished Hangman runs up and takes swings at Swerve. The refs come out, the security come out, and Hangman just batters him over the chair. Then the refs come out and try and stop him. And then like as Swerve like stands up to run away, Hangman just scoops him up and dead eyes him off the ramp onto a table.
That was a grotty bumper. That was Swerve did not land in a nice way.
And then the segment ended with like the refs like pulling Hangman off like Swerve's prone body, whilst Hangman just screaming, "You're a dead man!" like repeatedly. Yeah. It's like, oh my god, this is like got me so hyped for this match now, and especially with what happens later on in the week when they announce something else.
Good.
Hangman's in danger.
I don't know, man. Die. Swerve's coming to Hangman's place on this one. I think I've got the fear for Swerve.
Whose house?
Well, Hangman's house. Yeah.
Swerve's house.
Cowboy Ranch.
Nana's house.
Then, I mean, Bullet Club Gold cut a fun little promo, and like Jay White, he talked about MGF searching himself on Google Trends.
Yeah, Jay White had like the best kind of like response to this because it was just a weird thing for MJF to say in the first place, I thought.
Yeah.
And then like Jay White was like, no one cares about that. Like, I'm just a better wrestler than you.
Then we got the Fever Dream, Like a Dragon promo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Like a Dragon street fight sponsored by Sonic Deep Kiss and a Real Woman.
They had the dragon branding on the apron as well, which is quite cool.
They did for Like the Dragon, the Man Who Erased His Name, which is available on Game Pass now.
Yeah.
It's not paid to do that, but I really want to play it.
Takeshita actually tweeted out that he's a big Yakuza fan. He's played all the games.
Kenny had a cameo. I think he had a voice role in one of them, and he has a cameo in Like a Dragon Ishin.
Have you ever played it?
He's a card in the old style one, which is Ishin. And then in the new one, he's got a voice role.
You say old, it come out like about 3 months ago.
It's been for a while now, that one.
Yeah, Ishin's not been out that long. It's come out this year.
I know also a lot of New Japan guys have been characters in old Yakuza games as well, haven't they?
Yeah,
well, you had like the crazy like 8 or something, and it was just like all the old guard.
Yeah, so that was in Yakuza 3, I think, wasn't it? Which was like Nagata, Kojima,
Okada, Tanahashi.
That was a different game as well. Like that was Yakuza 6, where you had like a card there, like as the Rainmaker, and then they had Lij as a gang, and then they had Chaos as another gang with Tanahashi in there as well. It's just a fucking fever dream.
Sounds great.
I mean, has anyone ever played the Yakuza game?
I've got them all because of PlayStation Plus.
I was gonna say they're all on Game Pass. So
they're fucking crazy. I saw a clip of one where like you go into it's just like an open world sort of like RPG sort of thing, isn't it?
Like GTA but Yakuza.
Yeah, and there's a like a mission when like you go into a cafe or something and have a drink, and like your drink gets spiked, and like you pass out, and you wake up and you're in like a facility where men are paying to be treated like babies and like wearing like nappies and stuff, and you have to just fight all these men dressed as babies to like escape, and it's like looks like the fucking most insane thing.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Wrestling fans love it.
Anyway, moving on. After that, we had another promo with the Golden Jets, which is never going to feel right to say.
The Jericho Universe, call them by the real name.
The Elite are fine. The Young Bucks are totally normal.
Kenny becoming evil.
Kenny made the interesting quote here, didn't he?
I don't want to think about that.
Saying you're acting like children. Someone else said that, and maybe I'm starting to think that you need to hear it from me instead.
Yeah.
Oh God. He's hurt and he's tired, and he works with fucking children.
But anyway, so they basically set up a match.
Punk was right.
So it's the Bucks versus Kenny and Jericho, and the winner gets the number one contender's title shot.
I think Kenny and Jericho are winning this.
I mean, it's they put the stupid step on it. They said that the Bucks like, but if we win, you aren't allowed to be a tag team anymore. Which, okay.
And why would anyone not want the Jericho Megaverse? That's all you ever want.
Stop saying it.
Never. I'm gonna tweet Chris Jericho so he
trademarks it.
So he trademarks it. I'll give him that copyright before I can do it.
Makes the t-shirt.
If he makes the t-shirt, I mean, Faye, your birthday's round the corner. Just saying.
I will strangle you to death with that t-shirt on stream. It'll be great.
Next up, then, Keith Lee versus Samoa Joe. Meat time.
Yeah, this was banging.
This was very fun.
Really fun match. Just two big meaty men slapping all of the meat. It was excellent. Joe wins with a Coquina clutch. Lee passes tap out.
I liked how like freaked out Joe was when like Keith did that first like throw on him.
Yeah. There was a real feeling, wasn't it? Like Joe was like had maybe bitten off a little bit more than he could chew at the start. Like he wasn't going to have it all his own way, because Joe into most of his matches by just being the big guy in the powerhouse, and like obviously Keith Lee's bigger than Joe, so it was like, oh shit, yeah. Joe's like, oh, I can't like throw this guy around. This is different.
I think that Samoa Joe's definitely getting a prime to be the guy to take the belt.
Well, again, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah, the more I'm thinking about it, the more it just kind of makes sense now.
So after the match, Joe declares himself the greatest Ring of Honor World TV Champion of all time. and he basically said he's hungry for more. He doesn't come here just become TV champion, so he's relinquishing the belt, and he's going to become the AEW World Champion. And I can understand why people are annoyed about this, because belt relinquishings are always a bit weird, but I think it makes a lot of sense, because you can't have Joe lose the belt and then go on to challenge for another belt. That's even weirder. And we can do now. We can do a big old tournament on Ring of Honor, on Ring of Honor World.
Do love some tournaments. I know you compared this to Asuka when she relinquished the NXT Women's title to go on to main roster, and it definitely felt like that, where it doesn't diminish the belt. It's just more to kind of keep that person's momentum going.
You want to take the belt off them because you want it to go to someone else now, because they've done all they can with it. But you want to keep them hot, so you don't want them to lose it. So they have to sort of let it go.
And the other thing as well is, somewhere down the line, you've got a ready-made feud. Then if Samoa Joe's not got anything to do, to just turn around and go, I never lost that belt.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff they can do with this. I think it was the right choice. I think I can understand why fans are a little bit disgruntled that it came at the kind of expense of Keith Lee, but I'd certainly think Keith gave a good account of himself. I wouldn't be surprised if he won the tournament of it.
And Shane of fight over this as well in Ring of Honor.
I think Shane Taylor's winning any tournament they do for this belt.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be interesting. It'd be quite nice if they managed to do a tournament full of just past television champions.
Yeah, get a little bit of Tony Deppen in there for the boys.
Tony Deppen. Didn't Danhausen win it as well?
Nah, Danhausen didn't win it.
Did he not? I'm sure he won a title. He's competed, and he definitely competed for it. But obviously Shane Taylor.
I think it was the trios title.
Shane did.
Tag titles with him PCO.
Has Dalton Castle's he been television champion? Possibly.
Yes, he has.
I'm not sure.
There's probably enough guys knocking around who can do it, which would be great. Next up then, Orange Cassidy cut a promo with Hook. Basically, I love this. This is just Orange Cassidy's just desperate to beat Jon Moxley. That's all that matters to him now.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved the answering promo to this afterwards.
Next up then, the Guns squashed the Bollywood Boys. Good to see them back. Nice to see the Bollywood Boys back in AEW. Everyone loves the Bollywood Boys backstage. They're really popular, aren't they? They're really
Bollywood Boys are great. That's why.
Yeah.
It's just excellent.
After the match, they cut a really good promo about MJF barely ever defending the titles and that they deserve proper champions. MJF was watching it backstage. Samoa Joe walked up and was like, "Yo," and MJF just walked off.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, as I say, I think Joe's definitely got more than meets the eye with what's going on with him here.
So next,
I don't think he's the devil, but I think he's definitely
he's involved somehow.
He's definitely involved more than he's letting on, especially with Adam Cole's insistence that MJF should pick Samoa Joe as his replacement.
So yeah, again, as you said, Faye, this Moxley promo answering back was fantastic.
It was so good, wasn't it?
I loved it. Moxley's if I don't beat you, then what sort of example am I setting for Wheeler?
And then he just ruffles Wheeler's hair.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Orange, you've got to think about what example you're setting for Hook. You're just teaching him he can say whatever he wants without any consequences."
Yeah,
Mox's gonna murder him. It's gonna be great.
Utah's getting killed by Hook, though. I think.
Fine,
yeah,
Brian can
Brian can sort it out.
Yeah.
And then they answered. So next week, I think it's going to be Moxley and Utah versus Cassidy and Hook before Full Gear,
He
which is quite
basically
nice.
said, didn't he? It's just gang warfare. So I think it's going to be a street fight that just starts as soon as they're in the arena.
I think
cool.
Yeah, well, I think they announced it as being a tag match, just a normal tag match. But I do think it's definitely going to be brawling before the belt. Maybe Orange just gets a little surprise Orange punch on Utah to pick up the win.
Next up, we had a little Wardlow clip. He basically said MJF's time as the devil ruling AEW is coming to an end. Again, just sort of stacking the deck and we're building up the Rose Gallery here, aren't we? MJF's got all these horrible problems. He's got all these receipts coming in for all the bullshit he's done over the years.
And there's like all these possibilities who could be the devil with all these people as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real Who Shot Mr. Burns moment, isn't it? Like, there's so many people who have like an axe to grind with them. They could be anyone.
Do you think we're getting this reveal at Full Gear or after Full Gear?
I honestly don't. I think there's a chance that we'll see it at Full Gear because, like, I think it might play into the finish.
We'll definitely see the devil at Full Gear.
Yeah, whether they reveal him or not, I don't know. Or them, not saying him. Them.
Or them.
Britt Baker said it's not her, hasn't she? But she wouldn't go onto a radio show and be like, "Yes, I am the devil." So you know.
She also in that like video they did
music video,
the whole
Doja Cat.
like devil horns thing.
Yeah.
With like the cat person, yeah.
With Doja the cat.
With Doja the cat. I don't know what any of that is, and I'm scared.
I'm too old to know any of those words, so it's yeah. Next up, then we had 2 returning wrestlers in Julia Hart versus Red Velvet. Banger, like real good match.
Yeah.
Red Velvet looks like she's not missed a beat.
Red Velvet continues to look ridiculous, but work really well in the ring. Like that apron costume is not it, is it? You know.
I don't know, when she took the apron off and like just had normal gear, it was pretty cool. But
yeah,
I feel like this is very much like a sort of soft reset for Red Velvet because obviously she got hurt and she was in the middle of the whole storyline with Jade.
Remember the baddies? That was a thing, right?
Why not to?
And Jade's obviously left. Don't badmouth the baddies. But yeah, I think it's definitely a good kind of bit of momentum for Red going forward.
She had like a bit of an axe to grind with Ruby, didn't she? Like before she went off injured.
Well, we'll get to that, won't we?
Yeah, but yeah, really, really fun match. Julia won with a moonsault, and then put Velvet and Heartless, and then Sky Blue came out. Chris Stanley came out, Willow came out. This is all sort of bubbling away nicely, isn't it? This is all going. It's all going great. Next up, then Faye.
I was not expecting this at all.
So did you see? Because you fell asleep while you were watching it, didn't you?
Yeah.
So did you get this spoiled, or did you see this when you rewatched it?
No, I saw it live. I saw it like without the spoilers.
Oh, nice. So yeah, RJ City introduced AEW's newest signing, Mariah May.
My best girl. Oh, I was so happy. Like, I've been waiting for it for ages.
It's been rumoured for a while, hasn't it? We've been told it's been coming for ages, and now finally, it's here.
Literally about 6 weeks, wasn't it? They announced that they'd signed it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I understand why. Again, people on the internet are idiots and are terrible. A lot of people like moaning, saying why have they introduced her like in such a weird way? Why didn't they just have her come out like at a Tony Storm match?
It makes more sense.
Yeah, because no one knows who she is, realistically. So introducing her here and having her talk on camera is a lot more. It lays the groundwork, doesn't it?
She's really good friends with Hannah Taylor.
Yes, yeah. So we're one step closer to Hannah Taylor in AEW. We'll get there. But yeah, so obviously she spoke about being a big fan of Tony Storm, and like RJ's like, oh, she just left, but I can introduce you next week if you want. And she's like, they're doing the Mickey James thing, Trish Stratus thing, aren't they?
So
more blonde.
So apparently, I can't remember the name of the film. Hopefully someone can clear this up for me but by next week. There's a film from like the 50s where there's a sort of an established star who is essentially eclipsed by a younger star who's like who basically like ridden their coattails to eclipse them.
Yeah.
And I think someone put it on Twitter and detailed it. And I think that's what they're doing with this, with the whole kind of timeless Tony Storm thing. And also, I mean, let's face it, Mariah May versus Tony Storm will absolutely slap when we finally get that match. Well. So it makes sense to kind of do it this way and have it where she's basically doting off Tony Storm and playing into Tony's whole ego and like Tony's insecurities, and then when she does,
she's gonna gaslight a girl boss, isn't she?
Yeah, like she's either gonna like turn on Tony, or Tony's gonna turn on her. But either way, it's gonna be a fun journey, and it's kind of different, and it's one of the things as well. This is why I don't think Tony's gonna win the women's title now at Full Gear, because I think Mariah's gonna get too excited and cost her. and then it's going to start this storyline. And it's one of the things that AEW gets criticized about a lot, is that there's not any storylines with the women that kind of don't revolve around the title. And now at the moment they've got this one, which is going to be starting, and they've also kind of got the Statlander Velvet.
That still revolves around the TBS belt, doesn't it?
It does for now. Yeah, but what are they going to do? Like once it's past this match, are they going to keep like Sky and Willow and maybe take Statlander away from it and have like Sky and Julia have a feud?
Jay, sorry, I've just been banging away on the old Google, just to sort of go what you were saying before about the film. So the film's called All About Eve. It was out a 1950 film. Again, it's about a highly regarded but aging Broadway star and an ambitious young fan who maneuvers herself into her life, ultimately threatening her career and personal relationships. Now, when Tony Khan announced that Mariah had signed the contract, he basically said AEW is all about Mariah.
He did.
So that seems very much the avenue they're going to go down. And yes, Jay, to bring it back, I fully agree with you. I think there's a very good chance Mariah accidentally costs Tony the win at Full Gear.
Yeah.
And that will then lead into a sort of period of Tony getting annoyed with her, and then it'll build to like a rivalry maybe, and sort of, yeah.
Hey, you know what? I'd be okay with them slow building this and doing it at Wembley.
Yeah.
Oof.
Just say.
Yeah.
I think it's more likely they probably slow build it and do it like aim for probably double or nothing. But I'd be okay with them kind of like drawing out a little bit and having that match at Wembley.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, right then the main event, Jay White versus Mark Briscoe.
Which was
again,
very good.
super fun match. Mark Briscoe's fucking over, isn't he? Everyone loves him, rightly so. It's great. And I liked how much Mark just like dealt with the fuckery like so easily in this match. Like, anytime the Guns tried to get involved, he just fucked them up like real bad.
I like that bit where he like barked at Juice and Juice just didn't know what to do.
Yeah, there was that really sick spot as well where Mark was on the apron, he went to do a cannonball onto Jay, and then Juice just pulled him out the way and Mark just ate shit.
Yeah. I'd be okay with us going into a Mark Briscoe Juice Robinson storyline here.
Yeah, that'd be nice. But then ultimately Jay White kind of wins clean. He hits the Blade Winner, no interference in the finish.
I think they needed to have Jay win a few matches clean because obviously he's won a lot of stuff by fuckery, and that's fine. But also, if they want to kind of make it feel like he's a legitimate threat to taking the belt off MJF, and I've been so back and forth on whether he's going to be the guy to do it. At the moment, I don't think it's going to be Jay. I think it's going to be Samoa Joe. Because
let's talk about it now, because after the match, we had the Devil's guys beating on the Acclaimed.
Yeah.
Well, the lights go out and MJF attacks the Bang Bang Gang with the Dynamite Diamond Ring.
Yeah.
And then it's him staring down Jay, and then Jay powders out, the lights go out, and then we get this. And it's good because it gives both MJF and Jay White plausible deniability on who the Devil is.
Yeah. So did you notice as well? So they're beating up the Acclaim. They throw Bowens through a glass window.
Yeah.
Did you notice that the window? It was real glass. Crimey River. Did you notice the glass window they threw him through? The cubicle had no door.
Yeah, it did.
So there was just a guy trapped in there. He was just trying to help him out. It was trying to get him out. It was fine. Credit to Anthony Bowens as well. He had to go. He had an award ceremony to go to the night after. He went with his tag belt, his trios belt, and with his hand bandage just to sell the injury.
Yeah, he was like, "I'm so sore." It was very funny.
So MJF runs to the back, doesn't he, to sort of save his boys, and they're all fucked up. And then Samoa Joe's like just walks up to him and was like, "Well, offer's still there."
Yeah, he says you've got no friends left, which is certainly interesting.
It's like they're doing what the Acclaim did, but like way more threatening because it's Joe and he's terrifying.
Yeah, he's like, "I'll be your friend."
Again, it's like
I'll be your friend
Joe's
so
like
hard.
Sort of better the devil you know than the devil you don't, isn't he? At this point,
like, I mean, it is literally the devil you know, or the devil you don't.
The devil you
literally
Joe.
that's what I meant. Like So MJF knows Joe is a dangerous man. He doesn't know who the fuck stole his devil mask and who's orchestrating all these attacks.
So I promised Sarah I'd do a little theory on this. And I don't know who the devil is. I'm not going to speculate. I think it makes sense if it's like Adam Cole or someone related to Adam Cole. Like, I think that makes sense. Right. Here's my theory.
You need to say it could be Kyle O'Reilly.
It could be Kyle O'Reilly. Could be Roddy Strong. I don't know. Could be Rick Baker. Who knows? But
Calabrese.
What has Adam Cole not been able to do in AEW? He has not been able to beat MJF. He's wrestled twice, not beaten once. Now, who has Adam Cole previously beaten in AEW? He has beaten Samoa Joe.
Yep.
So what if Adam Cole and what was Adam Cole doing at the start of the show? He was imploring MJF to take Samoa Joe's offer. That does then mean that Joe gets another title shot. Now, how did MJF beat Samoa Joe when they had their previous title match? Samoa Joe was choked out using the wrist tape. And it was only because Adam Cole was there to help him conceal it that MJF was able to do it. He tried to do it against Punk and it failed because the ref spotted the tape. It's only because Adam Cole was there to distract the ref, and when the tape fell, MJF was able to pick it up and get rid of it.
Yeah.
So I think this is all possibly building to, as you said, Jay, Joe could take the belt off MJF, and then Adam Cole could take the belt off Samoa Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get MJF and Cole 2 at Wembley.
Yeah, and then MJF then realizes the whole plan that Adam Cole has built to orchestrate his downfall.
Being a ruse.
Yeah.
That'll be good. I think, given that the first devil that was revealed was very slight, I thought it was Britt, and it would make sense because obviously it's someone. Adam Cole can't be there because he's injured. Adam Cole needs to kind of be able. Yeah, well, he is, but Adam Cole needs to be able to kind of gaslight MJF into thinking that it's not him. So why not get the person who's closest to Adam Cole that isn't MJF is Britt.
And Britt's not been on TV for a while. She's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
What if it's a Scream situation and there's more than one person in the mask?
Well, that's what I was about to get to. Is like
if it's a group of people working together, they can pass it around so that everyone's got an alibi. It's hot fuzz. It's like
Well, as I say, the first devil quite slight, quite a lot slimmer than MJF. The next one was a bit more kind of bulkier, a bit more, who's looking a bit bulky at the moment? Kyle O'Reilly. He's been fucking doing the Lord's work, getting that neck back into, getting neck strong. Because his fucking neck hurt. I say that. So is Mike Bennett. Mike Bennett's fucking jacked. And
he is also neck strong.
He's also neck strong, and he could also plausibly, pass as MJF at a glance with the devil thing.
Yeah.
I think this leads to Adam Cole reforming the Kingdom because Tony Khan's a massive ROH mark. Just obviously the Kingdom with also the Undisputed Era in there without Bobby Fish, because don't worry about it. We can replace him with Samoa Joe.
Or Wardlow.
I think that it makes too much sense that all of MJF's all MJF's comeuppance is coming around this one pay-per-view. Obviously, it is because the contract's coming up, and everyone's kind of like, I wanna get that belt off you and be the savior of the company. But
because that was the view that everyone was taking with his match against Garcia. Everyone was like, do it for us, and that's what Danny was saying as well. So it does feel like a us versus them situation, especially with the new guard of AEW as well.
It's essentially like the way Hangman said he was going to save the company from CM Punk. I feel like before MJF turned face, it was very much going to be going into that last pay-per-view on the day it was going to be that I need to save this company from MJF. Now MJF's a face, and he's more likely than not going to resign. they've got themselves in an interesting position where they can now they can say, well, if MJF loses the belt, what reason does he have to stay?
But it feels like as well, like all these people that have crossed, no one buys into this facade either.
No, but also all the people that are kind of coming after MJF are heels.
Mm-hmm.
Until there's like an actual mixed bag of people who are coming after him. It feels as if like it's literally these heels are going to try and stop MJF from staying with the company more than saving the company from MJF walking out with the belt. It's almost as if the belt's the one thing keeping him there at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then there's a real danger. I think it's more of a compelling story. If I think we talked about this a few months ago. What if instead of MJF has the belt and has the leverage, what if MJF doesn't have the belt and has to sort of find some leverage?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's talked for so long with so much confidence about being the champion when his contract runs out. Like,
yeah,
it'd be fascinating to see him put in a position where he doesn't. It's like that's like his comeuppance, isn't it? That's like because Wardlow said, like, I'm going to take everything from you, like you took everything from me.
And how does MJF then kind of deal with that? Like, how does he react to that? Does he revert back to being a prick, or does he go, well, actually...
Like we said this a few weeks ago, didn't we? It's easy to be the good guy when you're winning and when you're on top and when everything's going your way. But how does he cope mentally, and like how does his psyche recover from losing the title? I think that's what I really want to see. That's the really exciting thing for me.
I do think, and it's one of those things. I like longish title reigns. I don't like them going too long. Cough Roman Reigns, cough. But I do think that MJF's title reign is definitely in its twilight. I think, and that's not that I think it's gone too long, but I think that it runs the risk of getting to a point where MJF's starting to run out of feasible people who can take that belt off him, and they've got it at a point now where they've got Joe. Wardlow's not necessarily going to take the belt off him, but
he'll be a factor in whatever does happen.
He seems to be like the person who's going to be sort of following MJF around like a black cloud after.
He's the kingmaker, isn't he? He gets to decide. Like whenever he gets involved, he can like cost MJF a match and like have him lose the title.
Yeah, I think that they've got it at the kind of sweet spot that there's enough people who can feasibly take that belt off him. Like obviously, Jay White would make a hell of a lot of sense. I don't think he will, but it'll make a hell of a lot of sense if he does. Samoa Joe makes, for me, all the sense in the world.
Imagine Samoa Joe, AEW World Champion 2024. What a fucking time to be alive.
Give me what I want.
I'm gonna get something launched at me in a second. I can feel it. If something just knocks me out, just carry on.
Adam Cole again, feasible. Swerve, feasible. Like they managed to get enough people who are feasible, even to a degree. Like if he wasn't the tag champion, Ricky Starks would have been in the argument. I think to have been.
Well, can we talk about a bit more? Something out of context, which we'll talk about now because I think it ties into this. Is Tony announced a round robin tournament as well?
He did.
Which is going to finish at World's End on December 30th.
The Continental Classic.
Yeah, they haven't outright said that the winner's going to get a title shot, but whoever wins that is right up there in terms of the obviously entitled challenge for the title. You'd assume based on.
I think it'd be the International Championship.
I thought it'd be the International
because it's the Continental Champion.
Do you think Bryan Danielson's going to win it because he's the first entrant? I love how Tony's just like, well, Bryan, you can't do the G1 because you're too old and you've got a family now and you can't go to Japan for like a month. So I'll just make you your own G1 here in AEW.
While you've got injuries.
Yeah.
Well, before you wrestle a card, just wrestle like 6 matches and then maybe some finals, and you'll be all right.
He wrestled in Ring of Honor with a fucking eye patch. You'll do it in AEW too.
Punish Danielson.
Punish Danielson is best Danielson.
He'll get one of those like face masks that they all wear when they have like a broken eye socket. Yeah, I don't know who wins that. I think Danielson makes a lot of sense, but also don't think Danielson necessarily needs it.
No.
But it was cool the way Tony was like, "Yeah, it's your last year. I'm mindful of that. We're gonna give you this tournament. We're gonna make sure that you're at Wembley."
Match it all in.
Oh, Nigel's fucking frothing at the mouth for that, wasn't
he? I need that more than ever.
Nigel was fucking feral for that. I mean, he was feral for a lot of things, like on Rampage and Collision this week, because we got double Nigel.
Nigel on commentary is my favourite thing in the world.
He's a fucking menace.
Oh, he's my favourite.
Yeah, but I'm very excited to see what they do with this. I'm just hoping they don't. I'm hoping, because they've got the possibility here that they could do it like an actual like G1, like a dream tournament. I'm hoping they don't just like, and again, this is no disrespect to some of the names I'm going to say, but I'm hoping they don't put guys like Jeff Jarrett in there or like Brian Cage, and it's like, why the fuck are these in there? Like when you've got
like give us your Kennys and your Swerves and your Jay Whites and your, you know.
I think this is a good way of kind of setting someone up to having like a banner year in 2024. What better way than to give it to someone who could really benefit on it?
What about, say, for example, a Swerve Strickland?
Well, to be honest, I don't think Swerve needs it if he just beats Hangman in that.
But I'd still like him to have it.
Well, yeah. To be honest, I think the perfect person to win this tournament would be Takeshita. Because he feels like since he's joined the Don Callis family, he got that win over Kenny in that amazing match, and then he feels like he's just kind of like stagnated a little bit.
Pieces out.
And he needs something to really be like a shot in the arm to then have him in the conversation as this guy's going to be our next world champion, or this guy's going to be our next international champion. And I think have him win this tournament, have him go on to win the international championship.
You could even put the international champion, you'd even have him go and defend it in DDT.
Exactly. Like, I feel like the person who can benefit from this the most is absolutely Konosuke Takeshita. Just have to see what they do with it.
Yeah. Right. Move on to. Don't we want to talk about Rampage, because it's Rampage and we've run really long on Dynamite. So all I want to really say, we'll talk about very briefly. Ricky Starks versus Preston Vance was great. Really enjoyed that. Yeah. And obviously, main event FTR versus Commander.
Big Bill and Nigel on commentary just shit talking Brian Danielson.
Yeah. Nigel was the fucking MVP of Rampage and Collision on commentary. He was excellent.
I love the fact that, like, when Ricky Starks came and took Big Bill's headset off and was just talking, Tony Schiavone looked like he hated it every minute of it. And Nigel was just pandering to them like an absolute sycophant.
Was this the one? Was it then when he made the 69 joke to Tony Schiavone and Tony just didn't know what the fuck to say?
No, wasn't that that was the Acclaimed last week, wasn't it?
No, he made a joke. He said something like, "Oh, it's actually it's something like it's 77 day because women get 8 more." And Tony was just like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
Tony didn't know what to do. It was he had to have like a breakdown on commentary. It was amazing.
I loved when Big Bill said, like, basically reiterated what Nigel had said about like one bone in the human body. 206 pounds the human body, and Danielson can't function with one broken one. And Nigel was like, "Yes, this man is really talking the truth."
So that was excellent. Really enjoyed that. Big Bill's having the time of his life. I fucking love him. He's great. And then the main event, obviously, FTR versus Commander and Vikingo was mad. We've all seen the match. We've all repeatedly seen the clip of Vikingo going face first at the announce table.
Yeah. As well, we did also get Red Velvet beating Ruby Soho, which was a surprise and really fun match.
Yeah, that was good. It was really fun. Obviously, FTR won, which was, again, fun finish. Commander goes to hit the top rope, the rope walking moonsault, misses, and then FTR just jump up and big rig the shit out of him, which was fun. And then the House of Black pop up at the end to sort of just, they don't even say anything, they just sort of clap and like leave.
That was cool. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too.
But this was a live Rampage as well, because they filmed this and then they filmed Collision. They showed this live and then they filmed Collision afterwards. And I think just being live made it really pop. I think it was, yeah.
Do you reckon that's why Nigel got away with saying what he was saying?
Yeah, they couldn't edit it. It was great.
Yeah. It's like, you can't stop me. I've only got a time delay.
I can't remember if it was this or last week when he was like, he dropped his best dad joke of all time. He was like, "Oh yeah, I hear Bryan Danielson's made a website for people suffering from broken orthobones. It's a site for sore eyes." It was like, oh my god, he needs to be in prison for that.
Nigel McGuinness is a fucking treasure.
Right, next up then we had Collision. Started with Andrade versus Garcia. Andrade's basically got CJ as his partner because she walked out and that was his she came out and did his entrance with him. Faye, do you want to talk about Danny Garcia?
So I really enjoyed this match, and I'm not like nice. I'm not like hating on the match itself. I have no problem with the match. It was very enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. I thought Garcia shone a lot more in this match than he did against MJF. I think he got a lot more time and he had some really good answers to a lot of Andrade's offense. But my thing is that the end of the match, Andrade made him tap out. And I just think, like, and this is just my personal opinion, but if you're painting, and I think he is, but if you're putting him in this echelon of, like, he's the next Danielson, he's the next Zack Sabre Jr., stuff like that, I feel like making him tap was the wrong way to do it at the end of the match, but that might just be me.
Well, the figure eight's really protected, though, isn't it? Like, as a move.
And it's annoying that because it's fucking shit.
But again,
I really enjoyed that. I'm really tired of seeing Garcia lose.
He kind of has to, doesn't he? Because that's his whole arc now. He's got to he's got to rediscover he's got to shed his wrestle dads and rediscover his true form.
And
find his dragon scales.
I think while he's not a professional wrestler, he can get away with tapping out because it's going to force him to then find that kind of like, well, I'm really, really good at this stuff. Why am I tapping out? Why should I be tapping out?
He's got to toughen himself up, hasn't he? And sort of like find that killer instinct.
It's going to force him to dig deep and like just remember who the fuck he is, essentially. That being said, I think he really did shine against Andrade. I enjoyed
this match a lot more than I did the MJF one.
Well, I think Garcia got a lot more in. So what you're saying, Faye, basically is Daniel Garcia needs to utilize the power of the bad bitches to become his true self and become the best wrestler of all time.
That's it.
He needs to get rid of those pants.
Confirmed.
Get rid of those pants. Get back to his trunks.
Hey, his pants have got dragon scales on. He's getting there.
I mean, CJ was showing some interest in Garcia as well. Like she was scouting him, which was interesting.
I had the fear that Miro was going to murder Garcia.
After the match, we saw Miro backstage looking at
in the darkness.
So is Miro just like not capable of writing any storyline other than someone cooking him?
Yes.
Because it's weird that it's happened twice. It's like it's one of the,
I don't think he was necessarily getting cooked here. I think it was more a case of he's in this situation. It feels more a case of he's like overprotective.
Yeah, he's just this sort of like jealous husband. He's just like jealous husband, isn't he? And it's odd because like he's created this problem because he shunned CJ when she first came to AEW and was like, no.
Yeah, because he went on this crusade to like bring a championship back to her. So now she's going to bring a championship to another person because he didn't want her help.
Yeah.
When in the canon, like she helped them win championships in WWE, so why wouldn't he accept their help? It's all Miro's stubbornness and this, as I say, this crusade
it's
for
his
gold.
Own hubris.
That being said, I mentioned this when we were watching it. I feel like they might be going down the road of like Andrade and Miro as a team.
Yeah, I'd be up for that. Like if CJ sort of makes them sort of, sort the problems out and sort of work together and like.
Because as well, it kind of like solves two problems there. it gets Miro bringing gold back to CJ, and it also helps CJ like get people to be champions. That isn't just Miro. So it kind of like gives them both the wants and needs solved in one fell swoop. Bit weird for me the whole way they've kind of had Andrade just like go, oh yeah, I'm on my own. I don't need LFI, and then like a week later, I have CJ as a manager. But
I mean, Jay, I know we love Roosh and we're big LFI guys here, but and Roosh is a lot of things for a lot of people, but he is not hot and flexible.
That's like your opinion, man. Roosh is both hot and flexible, especially when he has a handful of cables.
He certainly flexes those cables around people's necks, doesn't he?
He fucking does. He flexed the steel chair around like Christian's head that one time so hard that he turned heel. Yeah. But yeah, I find that weird. Although I feel like it's making Roosh feel like a bigger deal that he's kind of like the leader of LFI again, as opposed to him and Andrew Daddy as
totally as co-daddies.
Co-daddies.
Right, next up we had Dalton Castle versus Nick Wayne. Love to see a Dalton Castle entrance on AEW TV. It's a special time for everyone. I love it. He talked about going to the zoo and hanging out with sea lions and all sorts of animals. He took the boys out. Again, I still can't get over like last week when he was like talking to Lexi and he was like, the boys are so upset they won't leave their chambers. It was my wrestling quote of the year. You're never going to top that. So he wrestled Nick Wayne, and it was a fairly fun match. Nick Wayne won. He cheated. He raked him in the eyes and threw him into the turnbuckle, into the shoulder first, and then he hit Wayne's World. But it was a fun match, and the crowd were really behind Dalton, which you always love to see. It was always good fun.
I hate that their group's called the Patriarchy. I hate it so much.
Well, they're not. Nigel just keeps calling them it. They haven't officially been called that.
But it works so well. Obviously, Christian is everybody's dad, isn't he? He's the dad of the year, so you know.
I mean, he's my father, that's for sure. Not my dad, my father.
Yeah.
Also, Luchasaurus did sacrifice the boys to the old gods.
Oh god, yeah. The boys have a horrible track record of hitting big men on the outside and getting fucking murdered.
Yeah, they're too mischievous for their own good.
Right, next up, Hangman cut a promo. Basically,
oh my god,
we're getting Texas Deathmatch at Full Gear because of course we are, because that makes perfect sense.
Hangman's in so much danger.
He basically, this is incredible. So I want to just quote this. He said, "At Full Gear, I'll take you to the bottom and leave you in fire. And every November, I'll walk with my son and visit you, and I'll watch him piss on your grave."
So
yeah.
Good.
And
he referred to himself as the Hangman as well.
Yeah. So there's two ways of looking at this. I think one way, Swerve doesn't really lose anything losing this match to Hangman.
Look, this is Hangman's match. Hangman's never lost a death match.
This is Hangman's match, yeah. In another way, I think if Swerve beats Hangman, because he's basically goaded Hangman into being blind with rage, so Swerve can outsmart him. I think this is a really clever way of,
because Hangman's always had that potential to get sort of overcome with his emotions, isn't he? And
yeah. And I think this is a really clever way to keep Swerve on the up, but also bring Hangman up with him. In that Hangman can literally push Swerve to the limit, and then Swerve, his emotions get the better of him, and Swerve just manipulates that into winning the match. Also, again, then you've got the other kind of wrinkle that when Swerve inevitably wins that AEW title, Hangman can be kind of that sort of
Hangman's right there, isn't he? He's ready to go.
Hangman could be like that dark cloud following him around, essentially.
Faye, I'm really jealous because you're probably going to get to watch Nat watch this match, which I think will be almost as entertaining as this match.
This is going to be on my birthday. I'm so excited.
I think this could be match of the night on Full Gear.
I think it will be match of the night, and I think I might be joining you, so I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see Nat have an existential crisis watching this match.
Fine, we'll have cake.
Incredible. I guess another little quote from Hangman. This was like such a venomous
It's a
promo.
really good promo.
Yeah. He said, if I had to swear, if I had to give you one piece of advice in the next week, you should look at pictures of your family and imagine the moments you could have had with them.
Oh, it was hard, wasn't it?
Like, Jesus, this is basically Hangman saying, "I'm going to kill you." Like, he's literally saying, "I'm going to kill him." This was incredible. This was so good. I love when Hangman's got that sort of like real fire in him. This is like the cowboy shit promo, isn't it? This is like Hangman leveling up for Kenny, like levels of like prep. This is great.
But it's like on the opposite end of the scale.
It's him going to the other. So Hangman and Kenny was Hangman going to like his purest, most pro wrestling. This is Hangman going to like his dirtiest, grothiest, like most evil that he can possibly make himself.
Hope he comes out with a rope.
Do you reckon he'll come out to Ghost Riders again?
Oh, that'd be good.
That'd be lovely. Right, next up, speaking of you boys LFI, we had Rush and Dralistico versus the Workhorsemen. Low-key banger. This was really good.
Yeah.
Roosh against big men's like the best thing, isn't it?
Roosh versus JD Drake is a match I now really, really want to happen.
Roosh is literally like Craven the Hunter from Spider-Man. He just goes after the biggest game he can find. Last week it was fucking...
Like Pete Postlethwaite in Jurassic Park New World.
Yeah, like last week it was Toa Leona. Roosh just like set his sights on. This week it's fucking JD Drake.
Big game hunter Roosh.
You better believe, given the match that got announced after this fucking match, that Roosh has got his sights set on Brody King, which, oh yeah. Give me that. Give me all of that.
So we'll talk about this now, because it didn't quite get announced here. Well, but two matches got sort of started off here, and then they got added to later on. So first of all, House of Black challenged Big Bill and Ricky Starks. That then got turned into a four-way match with LFI and FTR in as well. For Full Gear. That could bang. And then
that's also got potential to be a match of the night. Yeah,
Julia Hart then basically said, if I beat Willow Nightingale tonight, I'm going to challenge you for the TBS title. So then they announced that Sky Blue versus Red Velvet will happen next week, and then the winner of that will go into a match with also the winner of Willow versus Julia Hart and Chris Statlander at Full Gear, so three-way. So yeah, that's two multi-person matches booked for the two titles, which is lovely to see. We're gonna have a good time. And next up, Roderick Strong rose from his wheelchair, the power of neck strength, and beat Darius Martin with an absolutely atrocious looking, in the best possible way, end of Heartache.
I love Roderick Strong. Just so much neck strong.
He's doing really good work. It's really good fun.
Yeah. Do you think Dante might be nearly back?
I hope so. I mean, it was an ankle thing, wasn't it? But it's been a while, so.
Well, only because they were kind of teasing that this was going to be like a trios thing, weren't they? Because like they had Andretti and the Kingdom kind of having back and forth after their fight without Honor earlier in the year, and it just makes sense if Dante comes back and then they've got these three against Roddy and the Kingdom, just to give them something to do for a couple of weeks while we're waiting for obviously what's going on with the Devil. Yeah.
Next up then, we had Willow versus Julia, the aforementioned match. Match was really fun, but the one I want to take away from this was Willow's interactions with Brody King.
Yeah.
Which was really interesting. So Willow was doing
Brody King now, please.
Yeah, book it now. Willow was doing the barking at Brody throughout the match a couple of times. They had a little square up.
She was outside. Doing it a couple of weeks ago as well, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And like she wrestled Julia.
So really interested in that.
I need Willow versus Brody King so bad.
Yeah. But Julia picked up the win again with the moonsault. She got out of the Dr. Bomb, and yeah, really good fun. But yeah, so Julia moves on to the triple threat. Do we think Julia's going to win it at Full Gear? Do you reckon?
Yes.
I think she should have won it at Wrestle Dream, I'll be honest.
Yeah, me too.
I felt like it was the right time. I feel like, yeah, Julia winning, it kind of set rights the course a bit, because I felt like Julia's momentum was kind of like exactly where it needed to be for her to win the belt.
But then if she was, obviously they knew that she was going away to get married, so it probably wasn't the ideal time to put the belt on her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but she was only off TV for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. It was just really weird. She put her wedding pictures up on Insta, and she was like, "This is the last time you'll ever see me wearing white." And I was like, "Yep, fair enough."
Love that.
Yeah.
Next up, then we had Powerhouse Hobbs beating, was it some rando?
It was Titus Alexander, who has been in GCW and Noah.
Yes.
He also apparently had a really, really good match with Will Ospreay in Prestige.
All right. Paul White was on commentary. Hobbs won in like a minute. Then after the match, Don Callis, Kyle Fletcher came into the ring, and Don Callis had to go at Paul White. And then Hobbs and White had a little face-off, didn't they, and sort of got heated. So yeah, I mean Hobbs. I think Hobbs and White are going to do something big at Full Gear. Aren't they? There's going to be a big spot between the two of them.
Yeah, Hobbs is like reminding me so much of like Brock Lesnar these days. The way like he sort of carries himself and like goes after like bigger people. Like it just doesn't affect them.
It's interesting we mentioned earlier, Jay, about Mark Henry being obviously an influence. Hobbs used the World's Strongest Slam as his finisher.
Yeah, he's been busting it out every now and again. It would be cool because Mark Henry's not really been doing much recently, has he?
He does like backstage stuff, doesn't he? He does
like well, yeah. On screen, I should say, he's not been doing much. It would be cool, given the fact that Mark Henry and Paul White have a little bit of a history as rivals as well. If maybe Mark Henry was like sort of, I don't know, like a.
You could just have a ringside for the match or something, and just have him get involved with it.
Just have a mentor and Hobbs a bit more on like how to be like a powerhouse. Not that Hobbs needs it.
I think Hobbs is going to slam Paul White or something at Full Gear. I think that's going to be the big spot.
Yeah, he's definitely, as I say, he's definitely looking at some of the stuff he's been doing in recent weeks. He's definitely been studying a lot of like sort of like Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley stuff, where it's a big guy you can just move. Because
yeah, right. Then main event, we had Lance Archer and the Righteous versus Sting, Darby Allin, and Adam Copeland. First of all, I love Lance Archer. Comes out for his entrance, just starts battering people, just starts webbing security guards everywhere.
I love Lance Archer so much.
It's a shame that he's going off to Japan again in a couple of weeks, isn't it?
Yeah. And I really like this pairing of Lance and the Righteous. I think they work really well together. They've got the same vibe. They've got the same sort of energy. Because Vincent's like they've all got the same sort of sinister sort of like edge to them, but like Vincent's so chill, and like Lance is just so intense that they have this really cool dynamic.
Vincent and Jake are like made to be together. They're even like, in that little promo at the start of the show, they bounced off each other really well. Even in like just a little 5-second promo, you could see the sort of the chemistry was there. Like it was really cool. I wonder if that's why they've put the Righteous with Jake now, just to kind of give them a bit more of like, not a bit more oomph, but just like because there's that obviously that kind of chemistry together.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But yeah, really really fun match. It was actually really entertaining. I thought this match might be a bit of a it was like this collision main event. It was, I don't know what I was going to think. A lot of people in this were a little bit on the older side, but no, it was really, really fun. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, Adam Copeland hit a suicide dive.
Yeah,
Adam Copeland's like not lost a step. That's the thing. Like, I know. As soon as he left like WWE, like all the fucking D drones were like going, "Oh well, he's old as shit. We've lost this guy." The man can still go. If I look even remotely that good at 50, if I can get up the stairs without like aching all over at 50, I'll be happy.
Too late.
Yeah.
That guy can fucking looks like that at 50. Like it's insane. I thought him and Dutch had really good chemistry together.
Yeah, Dutch is a really underrated guy. Like he's so good in the ring.
So good. Been saying this for fucking years. I'm so happy that people are finally getting to see how good he is.
Shout out to Darby as well for wrestling with like one shoulder.
yeah. Darby with his little tattoo on his forehead pointing to the way to the summit.
Yeah, but the good guys win. Copeland hits a spear on Vincent. Vincent gets a little egg spear, which is a nice little memento for him. And yeah, after the match, Christie's music hits and the patriarchy come out. Christian, Nick Wayne, and Luchasaurus. Christian holds up the belt. You're sort of lords it over Adam, which is that's
my father.
the world's father, the father of the world,
Father.
the Odin of
Father!
the All Father. Yes. So there we go. Before we wrap it up, because we've gone for quite a while there, we got real stuck into Dynamite merited some discussion, didn't it? So
considering there wasn't much news, but we to be fair, we had some cool discussion at the start about like Claire Lynch and Eddie Guerrero, like two of the best things about wrestling.
TNFaye continues to be the hottest segment in all of wrestling podcasting.
TNFaye, the hottest segment in the Jericho Megaverse.
Oh god, that's so good. Right, wrestlers of the week then. Come on, hit me.
I think Faye might say who I was thinking of saying, so because it's her birthday this week, I'll let her go first.
I don't know.
And she's hesitating, so
I think I'm gonna have to go with Hangman.
Oh, okay. That's not what I expected.
I was gonna go with Garcia, but like
that's what I expected.
Nope, fuck it. It can be Garcia because he's actually wrestled this week.
Yeah, all Hangman did was wear a black shirt and shout at a man.
And look really good while doing it.
He's I mean, you've got to look good for the last day you walk on this mortal coil.
He's wore black for Swerve's funeral.
He's wore black for his own funeral, I think, more. Swerve's gonna fucking crime the living shit out of him. Tasty, do you want to go next then?
Yeah, I'm gonna have some with Joe because I thought he had a really good match and he had several segments of extreme menace, which I really enjoyed as well.
Did have a lot of menace. Did have a great deal of menace.
I would have said Swerve, but like him getting murked by Hangman through a table kind of down the stock a little bit. So.
Whoa, no.
And also Hangman had the really cool. Hangman won the promo this week, didn't he? So like Swerve didn't really win.
Hanger did win the promo. That's fair. I'm gonna go for. I can't say Chris Hero because he's not wrestled this week yet. Spoiler alert for next. Fuck it, I'm going for Roosh again because.
Not the IWGP Junior Championship belt, which had a 30-second title reign.
It did come close. It did come close for me going for that. To be fair, no, I'm gonna go for Roosh.
So we got Roosh. Faye, did you go for Hanger in the end?
No, Garcia.
So Garcia, Roosh, and Joe. There we go. Right, yeah. Let us know who your wrestler of the week was. Obviously, join us next week when we're gonna talk about. Roosh? We're going to talk about all of Full Gear, and will we know who the devil is this time next week? I don't know. I'm so excited. Oh my god.
We are going to do predictions later in the week, aren't we?
Hopefully we'll get them up. If we can, we'll do a recording. If not, we'll just throw them on Twitter maybe. We'll
probably try and do a recording on Friday, I reckon.
Yeah, if not, we can just throw them up. At the least, we'll throw them up on social media so you can see them. But yeah, we'll see you next week. Enjoy Full Gear. Enjoy all the wrestling that's coming at you this week. There's a lot of it. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Love this podcast house in the Untitled Wrestling Podcast House.
Bye.